touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, guys, we are coming in off of a very successful Taco Tuesday, even without Jokic hitting. Both those NHL bets that were kind of free squares ended up hitting. So I'm pretty excited to get into the video today. The board today, we do have some solid bets on paper. The issue with two of them is that we hammered them 2 nights ago and they got a slight bump, but they should have. It's just, can we count on that again is the question. All right, so the first bet that we're getting that's like almost too good to pass up on is going to be Matt Boldy under 3.5 shots on goal. And I know what you guys are seeing and saying is that, hey, no, he's been over that 5 straight times. Why would we make that prop bet? Well, to me, I'm reading their odds and the odds that we're getting as like he has been over his expected shots on goal for quite some time, that all the sportsbooks are ranking out as minus 148 for the under. Okay. And so sure, on paper, it's a little bit risky. It's more risky than people would want. But minus 150 DK Sportsbook, minus 148. I mean, that is pretty much like the Jalen Brunson taco yesterday. It's such a good number that I'm going to assume that the sportsbooks are right. And I think that's the best strategy to go with as a whole. So at minus 150 for DK Sportsbook, they're giving him a 60% chance to get the under. At 48, it'd be like 59.5. Okay. So this is one of those situations where we are just betting the odds there that we're getting. Once again, minus 150 on DK Sports. So here's another one that I find very interesting. Right now, the sports books are pretty much valuing Jordan Poole to get over 23.5 points at minus 140. And that's going to be true across the board for all the sports books on average. And so I think part of the reason why we're getting that number, and it's such a strong number, is going to be this game. It's a high scoring game and the game's expected to stay close. Now, if we look at his numbers per 36 with Curry off the court, I mean, they are crazy. 28 points on average per 36 with Curry off the court, averages 3 rebounds and 5.3 assists. So this is another spot in which we could potentially do the points and assists like we did on the last slate. It is a good matchup as well, but we can see why the sportsbooks are favoring the over here. And see how many shot attempts. 8 for 14 was pretty efficient shooting the 3-ball, which is kind of shocking. 10 3-ball attempts is pretty crazy. I would have expected this number to be higher. And that's kind of the worry with the Golden State Warriors, guys, is the simple fact that there are a lot of mouths to feed there. And so like we would like this prop a lot better if Klay Thompson was not there, or if he was inactive or Wiggins was inactive. So for me, again, tonight, I would kind of rather go with the points and assists, probably 28.5. Once again, he averages about 28 points per 36 with Curry off the court and about 5.3 assists per 36 with Curry off the court. So the question would be, can we expect him to get around 36 minutes? You know, if the game stays close, sure. I would say he would get around 35. Okay. So in theory, this is a very good number that we're getting across the board for Jordan Poole. It's just how do we go about attacking it? So we have another one here, Jalen Green over 22.5 points. Now, if we pull up the game over and under, we can see that is going to be a very high scoring game. And it's supposed to be a game that could blow up. Okay, so that's going to be the worry. If it stays close, Green should be able to get the over. And if it is staying close, you would imagine that Jalen Green would be the reason as to why it's staying close. The interesting thing about this prop line is that some of the sportsbooks are kind of differing on where the number should be. On average, though, it's coming in at minus 130. So still a favorable prop line that we're getting there. So we look at the last game with Jalen Green. He started out terribly, guys, shooting the basketball. It was like 1 for 8 to start, and then finished 10 for 21 and 5 for 11. Now that's huge. I mean, if we can get 21 shot attempts out of a guy in a high scoring game, that's going to be highly appealing. We look at the last game against the Kings. It was also a blowout, and he was still able to get 27 points. So that is also going to be something that's very encouraging to me tonight. And if we pull up the stats with Kevin Porter off the court, Jalen Green averages 24.4 points per 36, which is obviously a good number that we're getting there. He's another one where if you wanted to do rebounds and assists, you could as well. About 3.7 rebounds. Sorry, about 3.7 rebounds and about 4.2 assists, which is the exact opposite of this, which is kind of weird. So maybe instead of doing points, you could do, I don't know if I'd want to do this. Probably not. I'd probably just do points here if we're chasing it. And so that's my biggest issue is that 2 nights ago, we were getting this at 21.5 and Poole was much lower as well. All right. So this is one that I don't particularly love that much, but it is a good odds bet that we're getting. So Scottie Barnes under 17.5 points. And the matchup with the Spurs also makes me kind of hesitate to this one. So it's not one that I'm going to be overly attacking, but we are seeing the number come in at around minus 130 across the board for the under to hit here. And if we pull up the game line, we could see, kind of a high scoring game, but it is a game that's projected to blow out. And so like, that's kind of it. He's not getting like too many crazy shot attempts up. I mean, 15, 23, that's a decent amount. But if this game blows out, and with the Raptors, you can kind of see like everyone kind of benefiting. Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, you can kind of see all of them being part of the reason as to why the game blows out. Now, could Barnes get hot? Sure, he definitely can get hot and be the main reason why the game's a blowout. But the chances are this game will be a blowout. And if it is, you expect his shot attempts to be lower than they typically are. Thus, you expect the under to hit. And we're kind of seeing that in some of these games. I was trying to find some blowouts here. You can see he's getting the under in those. Here's one where he barely had the under. It was a blowout. Another one that was a decent kind of blowout, 15 points or 11 points. Two more that were blowouts. So over once, another blowout here, under, over, and another blowout. So we can see a majority of the times in the games that have been blowouts, he hasn't been the reason why they're blowing out. Thus, the under is kind of being favored, and so I do agree with that number. So a prop line number that I found very interesting was PJ Washington under 4.5 rebound. So this is another one where, yeah, we would want it to be minus 140. We're getting that number at minus 130. And we can see, based off his last 5 games, we can see that number has been pretty low lately, and it's just strange in general there. So I kind of want to examine why. It's not like minutes or anything. Like his role hasn't changed at all, so it is kind of strange. We do see on the season, it does average 4.5 rebounds. So he's set, his prop line is set right at his average. Last time out against Washington did have 5 rebounds though, and then the game before that only 1, and then 0. Okay, so 2 out of the 3 games, 1 and 0, and then 5. So pulling in those averages, it would suggest that he should be under this number as well, given the matchup. So another one that the sportsbooks are favoring at minus 130 is going to be Al Horford under 5.5 rebounds. It's an okay one. I don't really love it too much, but minus 130, good number. You could see it happening against the Sixers as well. And then another one that we're getting at minus 130 was Garland under 7.5 assists. A good number there. Typically speaking, if we are chasing these good numbers, they're gonna hit. Okay, so those last 2 ones, they're okay. And same thing with Scottie and PJ Washington. Like, those are okay props. I could see why those numbers are out there a little bit more than the Garland and also Horford one, and that's why I didn't touch on these last 2 as much. Oh my god, you kidding me? They took the NHL prop off the board. Mother, jeez, that is super frustrating. I mean, they had to, and for what it's worth, they had a bunch of really strong bets. Oh, they just repopulated them for golf. Okay, and I'm gonna be doing a separate golf video later today to touch on those a little bit more. Okay, good. I'm glad. So it's good for golf, at least, because they took these away and now they're back, which is good. All right, so my original bets of the day were going to be this, because the number was so great for Matt Boldy under, and then with POOLE, we were going to mix and match those 2. But because we're no longer getting that, here is the prop that I'd be chasing today. Okay, I don't feel the need to attack it too much, even though we are getting good props, because we had such a solid day yesterday, to the point where I don't want to say it feels like you're forcing it, like it did kind of maybe Monday or Sunday, because these are good lines. But it's just off of the day yesterday. I kind of just want to relax a little bit today. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give a like and subscribe. As always, let's keep cashing.